I guess there is no real right way to start anything. Um, I think I have convinced myself that I have to have it all figured out in order to get started. And the issue with that is there is no real measurement for how much you've figured out in life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I can continuously keep telling myself that I don't know enough, or I'm not enough of an expert, or maybe I'm not qualified enough to be talking. Like, one thing about me is I'm going to talk, and it doesn't matter. Like, in my day-to-day life, I'm not questioning if I'm qualified enough to be speaking to someone or to be responding to someone or engaging with anything. And so for a long time, a limiting belief for me in starting a podcast has been that I am just not qualified enough to speak or be heard on certain topics. And that's just not true. And you don't have to be an expert to be heard. So I just want to say that just right out the gate, just so y'all know. I'm not an expert. The only thing that I'm an expert at is being myself and being a human. And those are my only requirements that I need in order to express myself. For the longest time, I had convinced myself that I need to learn more, do more, experience more, watch people's podcasts and take notes. And then I'd like see these podcasters that I really like and I really enjoy, and I put them on a pedestal, and I'd be like, if my content is not as good as that content, then I can't share it, because who's going to want to hear that? Who's going to want to hear somebody that's like not polished, somebody that's not an expert or not doing things perfectly? So yeah, I follow that. Like, you don't have to have everything figured out in order to start. And the proof of this is me starting, and I actually have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I genuinely have never done this before. And so I'm honestly figuring this out as I go. You know, the background is something that I just, figured it out as I went. I already did some recording from a different angle. I didn't like it, so I tried another angle. Didn't like that. Now I'm trying this angle. Hopefully I like this one. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to try a lot of different things in order for it to feel right. And almost like more times than not, you're going to have to experience something that you don't like first when you're starting to figure out what you do like. And so you don't have to have it all figured out. That's clear. That is very clear here. I'm just sitting here doing my best. And I'm sure that all the people that I watch are sitting there doing their best too. And maybe they have moments where they feel like they don't know or they don't have it all figured out. I mean, you don't see everything on camera. You don't show everybody the whole process. You can't see or hear what everybody's thinking all the time. And so we just assume that everybody else has, got this, knowing that we don't have. But a lot of the times we are sharing the same experience of not knowing and just fucking around and finding out. Really. I just want you to know that when you keep telling yourself that you don't have enough or you don't know enough or you are not enough, that's a limiting belief that's going to hold you back from pursuing what you want until the end of time. And so it's really important that you figure out what beliefs that you have that are limiting you, and you find a way to affirm that part of yourself in order to be able to not even overcome the fear. Because honestly, the fear is always going to be there. I'm doing this and I'm afraid and I'm uncomfortable and I'm just hoping for the best, just like everybody else is doing on this platform or wherever they are in their life. Everybody's just hoping for the best. So the fear is never going to go away. But when you affirm yourself enough, you will at least be able to start even when you're afraid. And today, I woke up and I decided that even though I am afraid, I can still show up and try. And the worst thing that could happen to me is it's not perfect. And the truth is, it was never going to be perfect anyway. So I might as well see what I can do, see where I'm at, and then give myself an opportunity to figure out how I can grow from here. But if you never start, you're never going to know where you're at and what it's going to take for you to get further, because you're always just going to be in your head thinking, oh, people are going to judge me, or I'm not going to be able to talk to the camera, or I'm not going to be able to be natural. It's just going to be so weird, and nobody's going to want to watch that. And then you never start because you've just convinced yourself that you already know what's going to happen. And you, the whole theme of this is you don't know. You don't have it figured out. You don't know. The only way you can figure it out is if you show up in that moment and you try it, and then you'll know. You'll either have confirmation that you need to do better, grow, maybe work a little harder, get some more skills, or you get the confirmation that it was not even as hard as you thought it was going to be. It's actually easy, and you're actually more of a natural than you thought you were. How will you ever know if you're just sitting here talking to yourself about what might happen? So today I'm sitting here and I'm doing this podcast, and I'm sitting in the fear of not knowing, and I'm speaking and I'm believing that my words have value and that I'm worthy of being heard. Just like anybody else is on this earth, you are worthy of being heard. You don't have to have a special qualification in order for the words that are coming out of your mouth to mean something to someone. You don't have to be an expert, a top expert in the field of whatever it is that you want to talk about in order to speak and to be heard, because your experience is just as valuable as the next person's. And there's also something to be said for the people who aren't looking for an expert. Some people just want to listen to someone that they can relate to. Some people just want to be understood, and they want to be related to. And that's something that sometimes an expert cannot check the box on. Also, the idea of showing up vulnerable, imperfect, and me showing you that is, for me, so powerful. Because a lot of the times I'm watching content creators and, they have the perfect camera, the perfect lighting, outfit, hair, makeup, friends, the whole get up or whatever, right? We're watching these curated experiences constantly, and we're hearing people speak on topics that they've overcome and that they know everything about, and it makes you feel like you're lacking or that you're behind. But I'm going to be honest with you. I have done a lot of healing in my life. I have done a lot of work in my life, and I know a lot of things. But on the same side, on a different side of the same coin, I still have more healing to do. I still have more things to learn. I still don't know everything, and I'm still struggling in my day-to-day life just like everyone else to figure out, my path in life. And so I felt like it could be a very beautiful experience to, create a podcast from a place of not being an expert, but someone that is constantly learning from life and wanting to share the messages or the lessons that I have learned that have been placed on my heart to share with you guys. I think the biggest thing in this journey for me, so I've always wanted to do a podcast, even before I was a streamer. I'm a full-time streamer. I talk to the camera all day for a living. Well, I talk to a chat, really. I don't really look at the camera when I'm streaming because it's kind of awkward. And low-key, I'm still kind of struggling with it right now, but I'm just doing my best to get through the uncomfortable parts of this and show myself that I can do it. So for me, a huge fear is that I've waited so long to do this podcast. I mean, when I say so long, I mean years. I initially did my first podcast in 2018 and came to the conclusion that it wasn't for me at the time because I needed more skills that I eventually did gain over time. But I didn't believe that I had what it took at that moment. So I started streaming, and that went really well, and I'm still doing that right now. And my biggest fear is that I've waited all these years to start a podcast, and I started a podcast and it doesn't fulfill me. And this whole time I've been telling myself, this podcast is going to fulfill you. Start this podcast. You have a lot to say. You have things to share. And, the words that I have to say could be helping another person. And so my fear is that I start the podcast and I don't feel the way that I thought it would make me feel. And then I don't know what direction to go in after that. But on a different side of the same coin, because we're trying to find a more positive perspective of this. What if that does, okay, let's just say that does happen, right? That happens. I start a podcast. I'm not fulfilled. Then what? Well, now I at least know that this doesn't work for me. And that gets me a little bit closer to my goal. Now, I might not know exactly what is for me, but at least I can now take this thing and I can move it over here out of my way. I no longer have to stress and worry and wonder. And then I can focus on finding something new for me. I can try another thing and decide, does this work or does this not? And it's not even to say that maybe I don't even scrap the whole idea of a podcast, but maybe I just change my approach. Maybe I can make adjustments here and there. But I don't know, and you don't know until you get started. And yes, maybe it will not go the way that you want it to go. We have to accept that reality, that most things in life do not go as well as or exactly like we would want them to. Sometimes they go better than we thought. And so we also have to hold space for that. Just think, what if exactly what you wanted happened or something better? Because in my life, that's what I like to live by. I'm getting exactly what I want or something better, period. And if it doesn't work out, redirection, baby. It's just redirecting me towards what I am truly meant to do here anyways. So to give you a little background on myself, I have been a content creator for going on 7 years now. I started in 2018 and as a streamer. So I play video games for a living right now. That's my current job. And most of you probably know that. Honestly, the majority of the people watching this video are most likely going to be people from my Twitch, which I appreciate you. Thank you for showing me love. You guys know this is a very vulnerable thing for me. I've talked about it so much on stream. And so if you've made it this far into the podcast, thank you so much for supporting me. It really means a lot. So thank you. Like I was saying, I started a podcast in 2018 when I was 22. And it's been 7 years since I started that podcast and then decided not to pursue that and do streaming. So I've been doing streaming for 7 years. And I'll be honest, when I first started my podcast, I actually did get a lot of positive feedback. And a lot of people said that it was helpful for them. But I struggled with coming up with topics. And I struggled with talking for a long period of time on camera. Actually, no, it wasn't even on camera. It was just audio. I struggled with having a long conversation with myself at that time. And I was very uncomfortable speaking into a microphone. I was uncomfortable being on camera as well. And so I decided that I didn't have what it took at that moment. And I wanted to do something a little bit less scripted. And so I decided to go with content creating on stream. So I decided to be a streamer, and that was easy. I got experience being on camera. I got experience talking, but it was natural. I didn't have to have anything prepared, and I could just talk with my friends and talk with my chat, and I kind of just like worked with whatever the vibe was there. Super easy. So I also tried to start a YouTube channel in between the podcast and streaming, and that, as you can imagine, I'm sure, it didn't really go very well. I was awkward as hell on camera, and I could not say a full sentence without choking over or like stumbling over my words. So I just decided to do content creation in the streaming space. So the way I got into streaming was I met someone that was streaming at the time I was talking to them. We did not speak for very long, but I spoke to them long enough to get this from them. So I don't have very much. Sorry. I don't have very many nice things to say about that person, but I will say you changed my life. You introduced me to streaming, and I honestly made such an amazing career out of something that I never could have even like imagined for myself. You know, I have been on a billboard in New York City. I have had my own documentary made with a collaboration with Cricket Wireless. I also have been featured in game multiple times. I have my own skin. I had my own takeover. I've done tournaments. I've won tournaments. I was an analyst on competitive broadcast for Apex Legends. You know, I've done so many amazing things with content creation through streaming that I never could have imagined for myself. And so, thank you. Thank you for putting me on. And in this time, throughout this time of all these like amazing achievements, I have gained so many skills. I have learned how to speak on camera. I have learned how to, build community. I have learned how to work with brands. I have gained confidence in who I am and what I have to share with this world through the love and acceptance of my community that shows up for me day in and day out for all these years. So thank you guys for that. Honestly, thank you for, building me up as I have tried to do for you as well. So in light of today's theme of not knowing anything, when I first started streaming, I didn't know anything. This person that put me onto it, they didn't teach me anything. Actually, I just cut them off at a certain point in my life. Like very, very quickly after I learned about streaming, I stopped talking to this person. They were not very kind to me. And so I ended up cutting them out of my life, but I had absolutely no idea how to start streaming. So my first thing that I did was research. I researched everything that I need to know to stream. I looked up what kind of computer I had, what specs it needed. I looked up the kind of webcam that would be good for starting and the equipment that I needed in order to stream from a console to a PC. I did all this within a week. I'm going to be honest with you. I went on eBay. I went on OfferUp. I went on like any used like item website that I could find or app I could find. I was, sorry. I hate having lipstick on and there's like a piece of cat hair on it. So as I was saying, I went on every used item website I could find because at the time I was not making very much money. I was working private security and I was doing the best that I could. And so I got everything that I needed. I found a I can't find this hair. I found a laptop that was used that I bought off of OfferUp. I found a Elgato that was used. I found a Logitech C920 that was used. Somebody was selling all this stuff online and I purchased it all. I went home and I set it all up within a week and I was streaming. I was telling all my friends like, hey, come to my stream, hang out with me, play video games with me. And I did this for 3 months straight. No days off. I was working full time. Like, I think my shift was like 7 to 3 or was it 6 to 2? I think it was 6 to 2 every day I was working. Or 7 to 3, I can't remember. So Monday through Friday. And then I'd have the weekends off. I'd stream all weekend. Every time I got home from work, I would stream from the time that I got home from work until like midnight. I'd get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep and then I'd do it all again the next day. So yeah, I started this streaming path in my life with really no expectation. I was already working full time. I was working in private security. I was working at the Saudi embassy. And then eventually I went on to work for the U.S. Capitol Police private security. And my next goal was to be a cop. I know. But that was my goal at the time. And so I didn't really have any expectations for the streaming thing. I didn't feel like I need to know very much. I was doing it for fun. I was making a little bit of extra money on the side. So I wasn't pressed at all. I was just enjoying it, not beating myself up about anything. I wasn't telling myself I needed to be perfect or anything. And I grew very fast, just enjoying what I was doing, being present and like being passionate about it. So I really do think those are the main things that you need to start: being present, being passionate, and like lowering your expectations and for what you're going to receive in return from it, and also accepting yourself for where you are currently. The skills that you have and the knowledge that you have right now is enough, and don't judge yourself for not having or knowing or being more than that. And that is what I feel like made my journey into the start of content creation so much better, or it made it less stressful, because I was not very stressed. I was actually looking forward to showing up every day because it was fun. And you don't want to suck the fun out of what you're doing by putting too many expectations on yourself, judging yourself, putting yourself down, and making yourself feel like you're not enough. That'll take the fun out of anything: a relationship, a friendship, a job, a hobby, anything. That will always suck the fun out of it. So do your best to find whatever way you can to enjoy yourself. Enjoy it. We all know how to have fun. If there's anything we know how to do, we know how to have fun. And so you don't need to be an expert in order to have fun. We know that. So even with all this knowledge that I have gained over 7 years of content creation, I can assure you that in this very moment, I'm still scared, and it's still hard. It doesn't get easier to start something new. It doesn't get easier to just dive in. It doesn't. I have so much confidence in this space, and still I'm sitting here uncomfortable, and still I'm sitting here doing my best. That's all a girl could do, is her best. I mean, honestly. So I love streaming, but I have gotten to a point with my streaming career that it no longer fulfills me in the same way. It no longer brings me the same level of excitement and the same level of passion. And so that's all I need to know that I need to move on to something new. And I can just, every day, I can feel my soul begging me like, girl, please do something else. Please do something more meaningful, something more positive, something more inspirational. I don't know the word here, but just know that I know that there is something more for me out here than just playing video games. And I even find myself in a space sometimes where I'm watching my friends and they're so passionate about gaming, and, they can't wait for the new console. They can't wait for a new game release. They can't wait. They just can't wait. They can't wait. They can't wait. They're streaming all these hours. They're doing all this grinding. They're posting all this content that is gaming. And for me, no matter how easy it is to do it, I can't make myself do it because my heart isn't in it. I do enjoy gaming, but the thing that I enjoy the most about gaming is getting to spend time with my friends, getting to connect with my community, getting to have a common thing that we all enjoy, and then we all kind of get together, we enjoy it together, and we enjoy each other's company together. That is the main thing that I like about gaming. It's not the game itself, though I do love me some Marvel Rivals, and I have been known to love me some Apex Legends. I love shooting games. I love games in general, but I more specifically love the experience that I have when I'm enjoying it with somebody that I care about. And so I know that I can bring this feeling anywhere. I can take this energy anywhere, this passion anywhere. It doesn't have to be in gaming. I don't have to force myself to be excited about the release of a console of a game or whatever, or a new season of this or that, and making content, pretending to care about the patch notes of a new season. Listen, it's not to say that I don't care. It's just to say that I'm not going to use my free time to learn about it. And then use even more of my free time to make content about it. Because honestly, I don't care. I don't. Not that much, at least. I care about this. I care about sharing a message that's going to change the life of another person, or maybe even change the trajectory of their life. Maybe help them gain a new perspective that they didn't know even existed. And so I hope that through sharing my story that I can inspire people to start something in their life that means something to them. I think that what I'm truly afraid of is taking this step and it not fulfilling me in the way that I've imagined. And I'm afraid that my whole life will fall apart if I give energy to the wrong things. Like, that is my big, like, catastrophic fear, is that, like, if I give my energy to the wrong thing, the rest of my life is just going to go to shit and I won't be able to recover from it. And that's obviously not true, but we all know how anxiety works. It's going to latch on to the worst possible situation and somehow make it even worse. And then you're going to believe it. In your sick and deluded mind, you'll say, that makes sense. I don't want to go through that. And so I'm not even going to try, because I'm safer here doing nothing and not feeling fulfilled and not feeling passionate and not feeling excited about what I'm doing. Because that makes sense, right? This fear has held me back so much because I cannot fully engage and give myself to something if there is doubt there. So in the back of my mind, there's this part of me that is working against me the whole time that I'm trying to push myself into motion, into action, and convince myself to have faith in the universe and faith in myself and how far it has brought me. There's a little part of me in the back of my head like, you're going to regret this. This is dangerous. This is scary. What if you fail? What if it doesn't fulfill you? What if it doesn't work? What if everything comes crashing down? What if? Like, that is not serving me, and I know it's not serving you. So what are we going to do about that? All I know right now is that doing nothing just leads me to feel more and more anxious. And I become even more afraid of the future as time goes on and I don't start moving. And I know for a fact that I'm wasting time. And I know for a fact that there is something out there that could fulfill me, but I'm not willing to go on the journey. Like, I want fulfillment. So it's like me here, fulfillment here, and the journey in between. I'm not willing to take the journey, but I want what's on the other end of it, right? Doesn't make any sense at all. So one way that I can kind of describe this is, like, it feels like I'm sitting in a car and I have it on. I'm sitting there and there's like a bunch of pathways in front of me. I'm in my car. I have it turned on and I'm at a crossroads though. And it's not just two lanes. Let's like imagine all my fingers are lanes, right? There is an infinite number of ways that I could live my life. There's an infinite number of paths I could take, right? But I'm just sitting here in my car. It's running. And I'm just stuck in this like paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis. I don't know. But that's where I am. Just in my car. And I'm looking at every road. I'm like weighing my options evenly every day. But not in a logical way, but in a way of like, I don't know, that one might not end well, no, that might not go well either. And so I'm just telling myself all these negative things about each path that I could take. And I'm just sitting here and my gas meter is just going down and down and down and down. And the gas meter here is symbolizing the amount of time that I have left on this earth, right? We all have a limited amount of time here, no matter if we want to admit it or not. We have all the time that we need. We've been given all the time that we need, but it's limited. And so we're in the car, right? And I'm convincing myself that if I take any of these paths in front of me, that I can't turn around. So that's already, we're packing on the pressure, right? We're packing on the pressure. As soon as we get onto one of these paths, we cannot turn around. And so I'm just sitting here wasting and burning my precious resources, and I cannot make my mind up. My fuel is being burned, my resources gone. Whatever time that I had, gone. It's being sucked away. And so I'm looking down and I realize my gas tank is what? How did my gas tank get so low? I haven't even moved anywhere. But the issue is I'm burning my energy staying in one place, and I'm not achieving anything. I'm just sitting here wasting my gas. And it's being depleted over time. And eventually I'm going to run out of gas, and I'm going to be sitting in the same spot if I do not get the balls to just push on the gas pedal and go in any given direction. Any direction. It doesn't even have to be the right one, because we won't know if it's the right one until we get on it. You will not know the right path until you get on that path. There is no destined path for you to take. You just take whichever one you feel is the best one for you at that moment, and that's all you can do. You cannot ask your future self if it's the right path for you. All this anxiety of worrying about the future, the future doesn't even exist. We only have this present moment. So take a path. Pick one. This is me talking to myself as well. I just so you know, I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at you, but I'm also yelling at me too. So now I'm even more stressed because I feel like I have less time. I definitely have less resources. I'm burning through whatever money I have, whatever time I have, whatever energy I have. I'm wasting it sitting here. And so I get even more stressed because what if I run out of resources and I haven't gone anywhere and I haven't even made an effort to get anywhere? Or what if I burn out halfway there? I'm on the path, but what if so many what ifs, right? And so I'm stuck in this perpetual cycle every day in and day out, and I'm in this miserable existence of I'm just stuck in this cycle. What if, the fear, the unknown, but what if, the future, what if it doesn't look the way I want it to? Well, let's be real for a second. Me 7 years ago did not think that me today would be sitting in a house that I own with pets that I love, a car that I enjoy driving, just living my best life. I did not imagine this for myself 7 years ago when I started. And so just take a second to maybe consider that even if it doesn't look the way that you want it to look, it could look better. Just pick one. Just pick one, girl, boy, they, them. Pick one. Somehow I have forgotten that the universe has always provided for me. I have never gone without what I needed. I've always had what I needed. As long as I am doing what is aligned with me, being true to myself, honoring my feelings, honoring my heart's desires, and trusting my own intuition, my inner compass, which I call my intuition, it has never led me astray. It has only led me to even more abundance in my life. And so who am I to sit here and question the universe? Who am I to sit here and question what will be for me, or what is for me, or what I already have? Who am I to sit here and do all that? Because the universe has never let me down, not once. Not one time in my life, because if it had, I wouldn't be here. But I'm here because it hasn't. And you're here because it hasn't. I always had what I needed. The next step has always presented itself to me when it was ready to be taken. When I was ready to take it, when it was ready to be taken. Opportunities have always appeared. A friend was always there. Family was always there. No matter what went wrong in my life, I always have received something even greater after the loss. And I want to tell you guys a little story that can highlight this. In this story, I plan to tell you how everything is connected. So there are really no coincidences. And the universe is always dropping opportunities for you. It's just waiting for you to pick them up, honestly. So this is my story about so I moved out when I was 19, and in order to move out, I had to get a job. So I got a job. The first job I got was cleaning houses. So I was a maid. I worked as a maid for 2 years, and it was the most miserable I've been in my life. I initially just wanted to move out and escape the environment that I was in at the time. It wasn't an environment that I could see myself growing in. And I knew, like, there was part of me that knew for a fact that, I have so much potential to be so much greater, so good, to do so much good in my life. So I took a leap of faith and I moved out. So I didn't pursue college right after I graduated high school because I had a lot going on in my life at the time. And I was in a situation where my parents did not want to help me get loans for college. And so I just had to figure out a different path for myself, which was already enough pressure. Like, if you don't go to college, figuring out your life as a working class person is very difficult because you just have to rely on opportunities presenting themselves and you being qualified enough for those opportunities. And if you're a young person like I was, like 18, 19 at the time, you don't have any experience. And so it can be a very intimidating experience to just go out into the world and make the best of what you have. But that's what I was doing at the time. So at the time I was living with my ex who was in the military, and I was cleaning houses, and eventually that relationship did not work out. I ended up moving out and living with these girls that were in the Navy. I lived in a very military heavy area. It was in Virginia, like the Norfolk area, where there's a lot of like bases, especially a Navy base. And so my roommates were all girls in the Navy. And I met some friends while I was out there who were living in Northern Virginia. And eventually I met a friend who had a room available, and they'd always ask me like, hey, when are you going to stop cleaning houses and come out here? I can help you get an opportunity. I got a free room for you. You're just going to have to pay rent. I was like, yeah, I just got to wait. I got to wait for my, what was I even waiting for? I was waiting to use my vacation time. And I think we've all been guilty of this where like, I spent my time here, working here all these years. I'm leaving here with something. I'm going to get my little paid vacation time. I'm going to take a long break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to quit this lame-ass job. And so that was my idea at the time. And I just like thinking about the story is just so funny to me. But that was my experience at the time. Was I was telling my friend, I'm just going to wait until I get it all figured out. Like another instance of myself feeling like, okay, well, I don't know. I want to have more figured out before I make a choice. Even if it is calling to me, I need more. So I eventually get to the point with this job where it's becoming more and more demanding. And I cannot see my life beyond the next day. I'm so stressed. I'm so miserable that I cannot see my life beyond the next day. I'm so tired of being like treated like I'm not a human. Like you have no idea how it feels to be working and cleaning people's homes, and they're looking at you like a servant and not as a human being. And they're treating you like you're nothing every day of your life. You know how hard it is to pull yourself up out of that every day and like still dream of a better life when people are looking at you and they see no value in your existence beyond what you can provide them with, a service that you can provide them with. That was very hard for me. And the job became more and more demanding. They were getting to the point where they were asking me. So initially I was cleaning about 3 to 4 houses a day. But they were asking me to clean more houses. So they were like, okay, we want to add 5 houses. We want you to clean 5 houses. We want you to clean the houses faster. We're going to charge the customers more. But we also want you to get out of the houses quicker. So the customers were being charged like $70 an hour in the house. So let's just say they were being charged for 2 hours. They would charge the customer for 2 hours, and then they would want us to spend 1 hour in the house so that they could fit in. By the end of the day, we've saved an hour in each house, and then we can add on an extra house because we cut so much time. And so they wanted me to be a slave to their desires of scamming customers and not even paying me more money. At that point, I think I was making around $10 an hour. They weren't paying me more money. They wanted me to work harder, and they were scamming customers. And so I told them I wasn't going to do it. Sorry, can't do it. I'm already doing enough here. Actually, I'm already doing more than I want to do. So no, I won't be doing that. The next week, I come in. Jayla, I think it's best if we part ways. They sat me down and they fired me because I wasn't willing to accept that kind of treatment. I had already taken enough. I'd taken way more than I wanted to, and this was just pushing it for me. And so I walked away from that job after getting fired, and I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just got fired. I don't know. Crying on the phone. And she's like, well, you can always come home. And, I love my mama dearly. If my mom was watching this, no, I love you dearly. I love her. I love you. I'm not going home. Sorry. I'm not going home. I don't want to go home. If I go home, I have to start over. If I go home, what was all of this for? I can't go home. Sorry, I can't go home. I cannot start over. I can't go back. And so I call my friend in Northern Virginia, and I'm like, hey, you still got that room? He's like, yeah, I still got it. I'm like, hey, I don't have much money. I'm not really working with much here. But if you got that room, I'm coming. So they said that they had that room for me. That day, I go home. I pack up all my stuff, and the next day, I sold all of my furniture. So just so you guys know that I'm not a horrible roommate, my roommates at the time were so mean to me. They were threatening to kick me out all the time. They wouldn't allow me to sign the lease because they wanted to hold it over my head. And so they would not allow me to sign the lease, and they would threaten to kick me out and throw my stuff out like weekly. At this point, I was fed up with my roommates. I was fed up with my job. I had nothing left to lose. The universe snatched everything from me. And any person, and it makes sense, any person in that moment would think, well, damn, I failed. There's nothing left in this world for me. Why even keep trying? Why try? Why even try? I have nothing left. There's nothing. But that is, unfortunately, that is a time in my life where I am the freest, when there's nothing holding me back, when there's nothing tying me down to a specific situation, where I can just fly freely to wherever I want to be, right? So I packed my stuff. I sold all my stuff the next day, and I was gone. I moved to Northern Virginia, and so I moved on like a Wednesday. By that Friday, I had an interview. I went to my interview. I got the job working at the embassy. All right? I got that job. And I learned so many skills at that job. I met so many people. And I will never forget that experience. That has to be one of the most life-altering jobs I've ever worked. That is a job where I started content creation. That is a job where I met people who made me believe in myself. I learned how to set boundaries, and I became the person that I need to be. I leveled up. I had my awakening, and I also want to highlight that during the time that I was cleaning houses, towards the end, right before I got fired, I read The Alchemist, and I understood that I had a dream and I had a calling, and there was something in this life that I wanted to do. I just didn't know what it was yet, but I had a dream, and that's all you need is that dream, all right? All you need is a dream. You don't even need to know entirely what the dream is. You need to know that you are destined for something more than just whatever you're settling for now. Just know that. So I moved to Northern Virginia. I get the job. I'm working. I learn all these skills. I learned how to shoot. I learned how to set boundaries. I learned how to protect myself. I learned how to be strong, stand up for me, not let the words of other people dictate who I am. I became more charismatic. I spoke to people before they spoke to me. I was just like initiating experiences, and I was living. And I was not doing that when I was cleaning houses. I was very much in a very oppressed state of mind, very limited in what I thought I could do or what I thought I could achieve. And me getting fired shattered that whole reality for me, but it also allowed me to start over new and to take a chance on myself in this life, a chance that maybe I would have never gotten to waiting around to get my vacation time that I earned, right? And so in that moment, I trusted the universe. I trusted that what was happening what was unfolding for me was supposed to be happening. I was where I was supposed to be, and I had the people, I had the connections that I needed, I had the resources that I needed, I had the strength that I needed, and then I made this out of it, right? Without that, there is no this. Without the struggle, without the suffering, there is no this. And I trusted the universe. It provided for me. Why would it not do the same thing for me now? What has changed? I've only become better. I've only grown more. The only thing that has changed, truthfully, is that I have more to lose now. In that time in my life, I didn't have anything to lose. It was so easy to take a risk. I wasn't risking much. Once you hit rock bottom, that's the bottom. That's the lowest you can get. And so I had nothing to lose then, but I have so much to lose now that I'm having this anxiety that is so hard to get past, because I don't want to lose everything that I love, but also I don't have to lose everything I love. Why do I think that? Why do I think I will lose everything that I love? I just want you to think for a moment about every hard thing that you have ever been through in your life. And I want you to acknowledge where you are now. You're sitting here in one place, in one piece. You did not die, and it was not the end of the world for you. All right? It's not the end of the world. You survived everything that you thought you wouldn't survive. You survived, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be watching this video. Hopefully. Hopefully you survived. But yes, I just want you to know that any struggling that you did, any rejection that you received, it was just a redirection to push you in the direction that you need to go in, to direct you to your highest purpose, okay? We have to remind ourselves that even when we're on the right path, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to encounter challenges. That's just what life is. You're going to encounter challenges that push you to become a better person, that make you stronger, that give you the skills that you need in order to achieve that next step in your life. The way that you handle these challenges is going to be the way, what am I trying to say? The way that you handle these challenges is shaping your reality, all right? If you're telling yourself you can't do it and you're not showing up, that's going to be your reality. You're not going to be somebody that can do it. If you're telling yourself you don't know enough, you're never going to know enough. You just won't. And so even if you feel like you are lying to yourself, you have to tell yourself you know enough. You have to tell yourself that you have enough, that you are enough. You have to say it until you believe it. Because as long as you keep saying that you are not, that will always be a reality. You're not going to wake up one day and magically believe that you are. You just have to live it every day until you believe it. Keep trying until you figure it out. You can experience negative things. You can experience suffering. You can experience obstacles and challenges even when you're on the right path. The right path is not going to be the path of least resistance. It's not. There's nothing to learn when there is no resistance there. What do you learn if there's no obstacle or challenge to overcome? If you give into the fear, you will stay stuck. You will not know what to do. You will stay stuck, or even worse, you'll go backwards. So the message that I want to leave with you here today is dare to defy gravity and believe that you will not fall from the grace of this universe. This universe is not going to stop caring for you. It's not going to stop loving you. It's not going to stop providing for you ever. The only time that will happen is if you believe that it will, because you are shaping your reality with your thoughts. If you're believing it, that is your reality. So just know that you cannot ever fall from grace of the universe. You cannot. You can't. It will always be here for you. And it's just feeding off of the energy that you're putting out. So why not choose to put out something a little bit more positive than what you put out? When you do that, that is when I believe that we will be receiving the blessings that the universe wants to provide. When we believe that we deserve it, we believe that we are qualified to receive it. All right? And you decide the qualification. I have decided the qualification for me is to exist, to be human, and to believe. Just to believe. That's it. Just to believe that I deserve it. You get to decide on your terms what your qualifications are for you deserving to receive, deserving to be provided for, deserving to be loved, cared for, accepted, supported, whatever it may be. You get to decide how that looks for you and what you have to do in order to deserve it. And you honestly don't have to do anything. It's your choice and what it is. So don't set these high standards and these high expectations that you cannot reach logically right now. Do not put yourself in a position to where you're saying you have to be perfect in order to be deserving of love, acceptance, like support, or whatever it is that you're searching for in this life, for passion, desire, whatever. Stop setting the bar so high that you feel like you can't even have it. Because that's the real problem here, is that we are standing in our own way by creating all these obstacles of perfection and, unrealistically high standards. For what? Trust yourself. Trust in the universe. Trust in the experiences that you've already had, that you've survived, and trust that you come out on the other side of it better every time. Just trust that, all right? That's my message for you today. Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe, leave a like or something, This is my first podcast. I don't really even know how to end this. Didn't even think about how I was going to end this, honestly. But this is how I'm going to end it. So I'll see you next time on episode number 2. Thank you. Thank you.